Today, back working on Angus. I have a couple things I'm going to be doing to it today. Starting out, going through all the wire harness that is in the truck, take out what I don't need, and then starting on going through all the junk with the LS harness. Yeah, done some research on some stuff and seems pretty straightforward on what needs to be pulled up and what needs to stay. So I'm going to start on the truck harness itself. Thinking going to go through and bulk harness right there, go through and depin it, pull it apart. About a handful of wires I need. One starter, exciter for the starter, so on and so forth. So I'm going to do that and just get rid of all the junk that I don't need. But I got to get room because I got stuff kind of everywhere and a little cold this morning. First major snowfall of the year. Looks like we got, I don't know, a couple inches anyway. It's quite early morning still, so shh, you gotta be quiet. But working in the garage, it's nice and warm. Checking my bait blocks, looks like it's getting mowed on, so probably got some dead critters floating around, but yeah. Oh well. So I'm gonna get on this and we'll bring you in when I'm diving in. So a couple things you want to figure out before you start tearing into your truck or on your harness. YouTube, Google what you're planning on doing. For me, I found that there's a bunch of guys out that already have done it, so easy for me. I just went through and, I don't know if you can see that or not, wrote down everything that I need. Top part, of course, is going to be to start to do with the LS harness, and then this bottom part is for the bulkhead on the truck. Going to start with the truck. I got it moved out so I can actually work on it now. But anywho, getting in here, the bulkhead connector right down here, that's going to get a 10mm bolt that pops off. And when we get in there, the only couple wires we're going to deal with are on the left side. Over here, these ones, leave them. That's for your headlights, turn signals, all that stuff. This one right here is, I believe, can't remember off the top of my head, but it's going to be staying, this top one's, of course, for the wiper motor. We're going to just deal with left-hand side here. As I get in here, I'll tell you which ones are which, but you're only going to need a handful of them. And what you're going to do is starter, just like any normal starter wire. Excite, constant 12 volt, it'll power everything as needed still. And what else was in there? Oh, there's the fuel sending unit from the tank up to the gauge, oil pressure switch, and then the power that actually goes to the distributor. We're not running a distributor, so I'm going to use that power switch to go to my fuse block, which I'm going to mount right here. Seems to be a common place where the guys mount everything. That's pretty much it. We're just going to go through and start by depinning what we don't need off of here. Kind of looks like somebody already had some harness and just relay going to something. I don't know if they were just planning on using that for swapping or what, but I'm going to go through, clean all that up. The thing I can suggest to you guys is, if you're not really good with wiring, take a bunch of pictures of stuff, label it. I don't know, I'm okay with wiring, so it's not going to be too bad for me, but yeah, let's get into it and then pop this loom apart and see what we don't need and what we do need, and get rid of stuff and keep stuff local. Okay, so now I'm actually sitting where an LS would sit, hopefully someday. More to come on that later in the video. And I have a whole bunch of stuff in front of me. I have this nice harness right here. Brake booster. I got a cable for the gas pedal and all sorts of stuff. So I guess what I'm gonna do, and whether it's right or wrong, you guys got another way to do it, I don't know. I just zip tied some stuff up so it wouldn't drag while it was going down the road. So I really don't know what is what on here, other than, of course, this is the engine harness. And I don't know what this green wire does. It looks like it goes to this connector. Something for the engine, maybe. I don't know. If you're not sure, don't cut it. I guess I can give you that tip. If you do, just, you know, be cautious. Double check it before you do snip stuff off. Also, if you're going to go through paint stuff, now would probably be a good time. Mine's just covered in grease. It's actually pretty clean, so probably should have power washed it, but yeah, whatever. Snip off. I'm going to pull all these little clips off. I'm not going to reuse this loom. Some of it's burnt and whatnot. But I kind of want to integrate the harness to the LS harness, so I'm going to be relooming everything. Some new loom. It is good to keep these. This is actually a good T loom majigger. You might need it on the new one. Keep all these just handy. I mean, spare loom's always decent to have around, but these clips are always handy. It looks like these ones are broke, but sometimes they're nice to have, and then you'll clip on a firewall or something. But let's go through, and like I mentioned, I'm gonna clean all this stuff up and get everything just clipped off of here. And then I'm gonna go through. I have my schematic, got the block pulled off. I'm gonna depin these and just pull the wires out that I don't need. But first things first, let's get this loom off. Sorry for the lighting, but that's what I got yanked out. Firewall's kind of somewhat cleared up. Go ahead here and show you what I got. So this red wire right here is gonna be my constant 12 volt. I actually just cut it because it ran all the way across the firewall, all the way that side to where the stock battery location is. I'm actually going to move that over here, so I just shorten that wire up. Second wire down here, this orange wire, that is going to be my switch source. That's going to be what I'm going to put some relays, like probably right here, and then relay on the fuse block that I need for the LS harness. That's going to be on off. This purple wire, that is for the starter. Wire down here, it goes up to this fuse block up here. So you can see I just snipped and cut it. Has a fusible link in it. That's where the alternator would have came in at. And then this would have went over to another power source, I believe. But the LS forums and everyone says save it for your HVAC stuff going on there. So yeah, it's saved for right now. Green wire coming out of there. Right here, where's it at? Right there. There's two of them. They are for the temp sensor. And then this wire down here is for the fuel sending unit in the tank. So you can see I just went through and I snippy-doo-dadded off the other ones. Gonna go ahead and depin these. Where I'm at right now, I'm gonna go through and depin this stuff, double check. As you can see, I just snipped off what I think I didn't need, and it's dangling, so those are what I'm gonna pop out of there. But all right, connector is back on. I got a depin. I guess I could have showed you how I did it. These are the pins that were in there. Basically, I just took a pair of needle nose pliers and counted out where the pins were, and I just grabbed on it and just yanked it through the block. So, yep, I yanked it. Looks like there's a bunch of this goop on there. Every single one I've seen, it's pretty gummed up like that. So, just FYI. I'm gonna keep one or two of these just so I can, if I screwed something up, yeah, have them on hand. Just clean them up, store them. Seems like a good spot down there. Also went through, took out that relay that was there and some ground straps. There was a ground lug that was there, and looked like the headlight was grounded on that side. That relay had a nice long red wire over to here and was popped in there. So when I just, right here where it grounded, I just clipped it. I have no idea what it was for. Plow lights, something, I don't know. Took off heater core line and getting closer and closer to getting this thing ready for the LS to get dropped in. Did order up a shallow oil pan, valley cover, and something else. Can't remember. So that's en route. But this will get, oh yeah, motor mount slide brackets. So working on that. When those get in, we'll hopefully get this thing slid in, but time being, this is what we got. Okay, so now that we got that all somewhat situated for right now, I'm gonna move on to the actual LS harness. Be sure to check out lt1swap.com because there's a lot of stuff on there that'll just blow your mind that you'll want to check out. So what I have done is I've gone ahead and laid this out on the floor. It's already been plugged in on the engine, unplugged, and kind of have an idea of what all the plugs and connectors are. You can label them. I'm actually not, and I probably should, but I kind of just have it laid out right now as it would be on the engine. Of course, you got the red block that goes on the driver's side. That would swoop down underneath. I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it as is, minus I'm going to start stripping off all the loom. These little clips, I'm going to first by taking a set of a zip tie and just whoop, zip it on there, zip it up there, rip that loom apart and just get it all. I'm going to get it all down to bare wire. When I get that done, I will be back. It's kind of where I'm at. Got about halfway done as I've been going through, pulling it off. Just like I mentioned, put some zip ties on the points where the branches are going off. So just kind of still working at it, about halfway, about a half hour into it. So just take your time. Tools I'm using are a pair of side cutters, a little flathead, flat blade, screwdriver, and then a box cutter. Just use the box cutter. Be careful not to slice down into the wires and make sure you're cutting what you're wanting to cut. I love it when I get parts in. I get to take a break from my stuff, but this is my shallow oil pan that I got so I can Lord Angus and not bottom out. Yeah. So yeah, there it is. Pretty neat. New baffling, got new hardware. Of course, it's shallower, and got some high temp gasket maker. Got a new gasket. Got a new oil dipstick. Got a new pickup tube. Got the whole 9 yards. So, heck of a lot better than that thing. That one's a little gross. All right, harness is stripped down for what I'm gonna be working with here. I didn't do this back side. That's the pigtail that goes to the transmission. You can see that I labeled everything. Little blue piece of tape, and got all my fittings, connectors labeled as needed. I might have to rip into that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ohm the wires just to make sure that they're good to go and they have good continuity, so I'm not broken or anything and messing anything up with the transmission. but we'll get into that here a little bit later. This one, of course, we got where the computer hooks up to. We got the C2 block. We got the C100, C152, and then C153. C152, we might get some signals for cruise control, some other T1swap.com, what we need. But we get a vehicle control signal. We can get that from there if we want to hook up cruise control. This C153 is strictly for four-wheel drive, so we'll be deleting on that. Got the injectors. They're all labeled up. Coil pack labeled up. Alternator, throttle position sensor, evap purge, idler air control. Go down this trunk over here. This is a coolant temp sensor. Got some AC stuff there. Starter and what else we got over here? Starter, crank sensor, oil level sensor. That's those ones. Other side of the coil bank and fuel injectors right there. Down here, I think this is the only one I couldn't find for. I don't know if this plugs into evap. I don't know. AC. I think AC is what it is for the pump. But come down here. O2 sensors, mass airflow sensor, and low coolant sensor. So now that I got all those labeled up, going through, just doing some cross-reference on lt1swap.com. This is, of course, those C152, 53, 100 harnesses. The 153, you know, the low signal four-wheel drive stuff, cut that one off. The 152, axle switch, vehicle speed signal, blah, blah, ABS, all that kind of stuff is in there. Standalone harness, not going to be needed for Angus, so we'll probably just delete the 152. 100, got some of those cruise control settings on here. Really, the biggest one is if we do like a Dakota Digital, we'll need, which one do we need? We're going to need the one for right here, the vehicle speed sensor signal. So we hook that one up, and then we'll hook up to our Dakota Digital if we use that, and we can run it off of, you know, that speed signal right there from the transmission. Or if we want to get one out of a junkyard, which might work out well, we might be able to plug it into here and use it. So, okay, I'm going to start by going in and doing the D-pin. Very important to know what year harness you got. Sorry for the glare there. Of course, I got a red and blue PCM connector. As you can see, red and blue, very simple. Go through and read all that stuff. So, depending on what your needs are, what kind of standalone harness you're making, basically the blocks that are highlighted like this will wires that are going to be needed, and they go to an external connection. Blocks that are highlighted yellow are wires that can be removed from the PCN terminals that are not needed. So if you go through and look at the connector C1 blue, we got a yellow. It's pin number 13. It's an orange and black one. Circuit number 463. Request the torque signal. Request torque signal. So we can remove that one. We got this blue one right there, PCM ignition supply, PCM battery supply. Those are blue, we need those. Sensor ground EGR, we can remove. The idea is you go through, you find the pin number 13, and you remove this. So if you don't know what the pins are, you go through and you pop this back cover off, and they're going to be labeled in there. And then you just find pin number 13 and you pull out pin number 13. You can snip it, whatever. And then you just follow it back in here, and then you just yank it out of your harness. I'll show you kind of how to do these pinch tabs on the top here for these plug outs. They're just little pinch tabs. You can, if you got really strong fingers, you just kind of clip them and pull them out. I don't, so I need a flathead screwdriver. And I don't know if you can see that. You want to get it in right here. I kind of just jam it in there and then just, you know, give it a little wedge up. And what that does is it releases the pinch tab, and then you can slide it off from there. I went through and snapped the other side off, but I just figured I'd show you while I was in here, just because some of them are kind of a pain in the rear. Yeah, I think like so. Owie. That comes off like that, and then you get to the back side of your pins. Now, as I just mentioned, all these are labeled. They're kind of dirty, but they're all labeled. If you get in there, you can see, hopefully it'll focus, you could see that up there and down here they are labeled. So you cross-reference it from lsswap.com, go through, you find pin number or whatever you need to pop off, you go through, you push it through, and orange and black, and I actually don't have that one on there. So you can see 13, I don't know if you can, but starts off with 1 over here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there is 13. I don't have it, it's missing, so makes my day a little bit easier to not do one. But you just go through, move on to the next one, find it, and they're pretty simple. You just push them through in case they screw up something or they want to repin something for fans or something. Later on down the road, I might try to save on a couple of them, but the reality is I'm probably just going to push them up and snip them and yank them back down, because there's other ways to skin a cat per se. So I'm going to do this and be back with you. Is 25, which is O2 sensor, signal low with case ground. It's highlighted yellow. I'm just going to pull it off and see, it's a tan wire. Yep, tan wire. There's actually 2 of them that I can remove. So, see if I can maybe adjust on the camera. Get in here and just give her some onions. This might get clipped. Okay, I missed a step. Forgot to take the little blue tabs off the top here. So these got pinch tabs on them too. Just carefully slide them up and off, and they'll come off like that. So back to where we were, number 25. Yeah, 25 right here. You watch the little pin come up, and it's got a little white tab right here that you can just kind of pry back. I'm just using the poking tool. Give it a little push down, get it below the top there, and then you can work it down and then pull it out. And that is depinning. So we got unpinned. I got quite a few to go yet, but the concept is go through, trace the wires out of the harness here, pull them back through like so, and just go ahead and fish them down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and depin everything. I'm going to fish it back until where my zip tie is. Verify that I don't need it, and once that's all done, I'll go through, clip the front part back on here, and I will put the back tab back on and call her good. Okay, so now I've gone through and I got the blue side depinned, and I got the red side just completed. I'm going to go ahead and put this back together. Just be careful when you're going through reading these. I did find some that it says you don't need, but if you're going to use them for your application, to make sure to leave them in. I think one was for a secondary coolant fan, so left that one in. I also left one in for, or I was going to add one, pin number 38 for vehicle fuel sending levels. Good to know to add. I didn't add it because I'm going to use the stock one off of the truck, and I'm going to use an 87 GMC fuel pump to run this thing anyway, so I'm just going to use a stock one, but definitely good to know just to add stuff if you needed. I did end up clipping on each blue and red. There was one that just was stubborn, I couldn't get out, so I just pushed it through, snipped it, pulled it through. So do have plenty of extra ones if I got to repin something here in the future, but I'm going to go ahead and put this back together and be back with you. Alright, so now it's just a matter of going through and fishing these out. You know, I use the zip ties. I kept them kind of loose on there so I can just take this wire and, you know, just kind of fish it through, and it pulls through pretty decent. So I'm going to go through and just pull these out like need be. Go through the whole thing. That's pretty much it. I think some of my other steps are going to be to actually send the PCM in. I got to do some more research on the evap control, body control, some kind of ignition, something or other. Don't steal me kind of startup that doesn't run the injectors. But yeah, that's going to do it for this part. Part one of depinning the LS harness and depinning your C10 stock harness and pulling out the wires you need. Future videos I'm going to have coming up, I'm going to be installing, I got the fuse block, I got to put this in, mount that up. I got some accessories that are stock ran from this fuse block that I'm going to run off of for this, you know, fans and everything. I'm going to figure out a way to make them run off here because there's no sense in rebuilding the wheel when you got the parts right there. Also have the LS will be going in here shortly, but definitely want to get the computer and the wiring in soon. But more to come on Angus. Making progress. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, do some stuff, and I appreciate it. See you later.